Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this video. As you can see from the title, this is a review of The Hunger Games Catching Fire movie that just came out on November 22nd, 2013. Now I'm recording this at 2 in the morning on the 24th of November, and I had watched it the day it came out. I saw an afternoon show, and I thought it was pretty damn good. I mean, compared to the first movie, it was like a breath of fresh air. And it feels like the first movie was a really crappy experiment at what can we do with this franchise, this story, and whatever. And it feels like the second movie, they pretty much found what really they needed to do. And I don't know, it felt like it was more so solid. With the first one, there were so many problems. Like, they cut out a ton of characters and shit. The fucking cameraman had a seizure whenever someone started to fight. One of the most important things about this movie is that the cameraman stopped having seizures. In the action scenes, I would say 90% of the time you will know what's going on in the action scenes. It cuts a lot. That's still a problem, but at least it's not shaking. It's a stable camera, and that's a good thing. So, they got that off my chest. The story. I think the magic of the story is a little bit killed for me, because, like, when the first movie came out, I had already just about finished Mockingjay. So, I know what happens. Like, when I was watching it or whatever, there were some parts that I forgot about, and then I remembered. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that from the book. Catching Fire is my least favorite book out of the three. Where is it? It's like up there. But it's my least favorite of the three, but still, the movie was fucking pretty damn good. And so the story, the magic was sort of taken away because I had already read it, but for someone who's either going for the story straight from the movies, they didn't really cut anything out. Like, they left it in there with all the stuff. So right now I'm about to go into depth with the story, like far in depth. I'm going to put an annotation on the screen that will say to skip past this part because it includes spoilers. If you give a shit, click on that link and you will jump to a later part of the video. If you don't care, alright, here we go. So after winning the Hunger Games, Katniss and Peeta are like, okay, well, at least Katniss is like, well, President Snow did not like what I did, and she meets up with him in her house, and he's like, oh, I didn't like what you did there, and she's like, oh, fuck, oh, she's like, oh, you better play this off well, and she's like, oh, okay, I'm Jennifer Lawrence. So, they go throughout all the wedding and shit with, you know, Peeta and Katniss and all that. And then there's this new peacekeeper in which, the peacekeepers look like they belonged to like Daft Punk or some shit. I'm like, are they gonna like start playing some techno music? But, yeah, so I thought they looked sort of stupid. Like when she went around to go and say, oh, yeah, blah, blah, capital, blah, blah. When they were in the District 11, when the guy went, and then that, and then the peacekeepers went to go kill him. I'm like, what is this, KKK? But that's a bad joke. It's a terrible joke. Anyway, so they do that. Anyone who does that is signaling like a kind of rebelling, and the Daft Punk members go and kill them. Anyway, I thought that, like, District 12 gets a new one. They get a new peacekeeper, this stupid, dumbass, angry old man. He's like, I'm a jerk, so I'm gonna take Gale, tie him up to a pole, and whip him. And then Katniss is like, hey, stop it! Boom! Punch right in the face. She gets, like, a mark on her face. Then Peeta's like, hey, you're gonna have to go through me. And she's like, no, you're gonna have to go through me, too. And he's like, okay, everyone, you're under curfew. And, I'm really doing a horrible explanation of this. They have a new peacekeeper, and he's sort of a dick to everyone. And then President Snow's like, oh, that's a bad idea. And Plutarch is the new head game maker because he's like, to Seneca, he's like, well, how about I kill you? And he's like, okay. And then dies. But you don't see that. It's mainly implied that Seneca dies. But, so, they continue whatever. And then after the wedding, all that, they go through the next Hunger Games next year, you know. The 75th, called the Quarter Quell. It's every 25 years they do something special. Now, in the book and in the movie, I thought this was stupid, but they planned this. You could tell that they planned it. How, for that Hunger Games, of course, past victors have to come back. Whoa! That means they're going to force Katniss back in order to kill her. So you could tell that Snow's like, oh, how about we do this so she'll die? And then Plutarch's like, good idea. So they do that. I thought that was stupid. It's like, oh, come on. It's like, oh, the 75th Hunger Games is going to be labeled in plot point. It's like, I don't know, it's fucking, I thought that was stupid, but it had to do that or else there would be no rest of the second book. So, they go through that, they go in, whatever, her and Peeta, like, it was gonna be Haymitch, but Peeta's like, I volunteer, and, yeah. So they go in or whatever, they scope out the people. It's like the same thing as the first movie, but there's like a force field around them because she shot the arrow and that. When she goes in for the testing thing, she sets up a dummy, hangs it, and writes Seneca Crane on it. So they go in, whatever. Like I said, the action scenes are not shaky, and I'm glad that it's not shaky. I'm so glad. Anyway, so she goes with Finnick, who's actually one of my favorite characters because he's funny. And Mags. Mags doesn't talk. So whatever, it's Katniss, Finnick, Mags, and Peeta, and then they're going around, and Peeta almost dies like 50 times. Like, Katniss is like, okay, I could die, just keep Peeta alive. And like in the first 5 minutes, he's like fucking Princess Peach. She's always in trouble. It's like, come on, dude. Then there's this fucking fog, poisonous fog, and just so that everyone can get away, Mags is like, here, I'll go kill myself, bye, and dies. Then they figure out that the arena is a clock, and that like at 1 hour the Mankeys come in. Not Mankeys, but the monkeys, the crazy monkeys come in. 1 hour there's the lightning, there's 1 hour there's the poison fog, 1 hour I think there's a tidal wave. And yeah, so they figure that out, and then it gets to a point where Katniss, like, they make allies with the technological people, and the guy is like, okay, I'll wrap this copper coil around the tree and then connect it to the river, and then when it gets shocked, it'll electrocute everyone there. So he does that, he gets her to run the coil, and then this other girl that she was with, forgot her name, I think it was Joanna actually. I think she dies. Maybe. I don't remember. I'm stupid. But she has to run away because people are chasing after her. She cuts Katniss's tracker out, so they have no idea where she is. And what happens is she has her arrow, she wraps the coil on the arrow, and the lightning strikes. She takes it, shoots it directly up at the arena because it's a dome. Shoots directly up, breaks apart. She gets saved. So then it's explained that everything was planned. Her escaping was planned. Some of the tributes are in on it. That was all planned. The Capitol had captured Peeta, and she's talking to us. She's like, "Oh, what about District 12?" There is no District 12. And then you find out that it's all gone, and that's the end of the movie. And then you see the Mockingjay pin turn into like the cover of the third book, and that's the story. So, yeah, I thought it was really, I don't know, for being my least favorite book, I'm like, oh, let me guess, this is gonna be my favorite movie, isn't it? But no, I thought it was pretty solid as a movie. The magic was taken away as from me reading the book already, but I think the story still kept you intrigued even though you know what was going on. So That's just yeah. You can see it a different way. Personally, I didn't think it was amazing. The person I was with, she said she would give it like a 10 out of 10. And I said like 7-ish, 8-ish. I give it, hold on, let me go check my Facebook post and see what I said, because I gave it a rating. Let's take a look. 7.8 out of 10. That's the rating. That's the rating. So I give it 7.8 Steve Gadd faces out of 10 birds. Anyway, those are my thoughts on Catching Fire. I can't wait till Mockingjay. It's going to be split into 2 movies. And see you guys next time. Bye!